Hello and welcome to Scale to Seven Figures and our $1 Million Fireside Chat. I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor, Virtual CFO with Anavo Transformation Solutions and your $1 Million Mentor. And I am excited you are joining me. Scale to Seven Figures is an interactive group of small business owners in the business to corporate, and business to government markets who are ready to scale their businesses to the next level. Our group is an opportunity to share, learn, and grow together without competition. Each week, I bring tips, tactics, and strategies through our $1 Million Masterclasses and our $1 Million Fireside Chats. If you are not familiar with us, head on over to www.scaletosevenfigures.com and check us out. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy our next powerful conversation. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's $1 Million Fireside Chat. And I'm excited because we've got a special conversation, a special edition today. So thank you guys for joining us, and let me know where you're listening from. If you've joined us before, you know that we are streaming in 4 different locations. It's actually more like 5 different locations. We are all over Facebook in 3 different areas. We're on LinkedIn and we're on YouTube. So let us know where you're listening from in the comments, and let us know what you think about the show. I am Lisa Anderson, Strategic Business Advisor and Virtual CFO with Anavo Transformation Solutions and your $1 Million Mentor. And happy Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, it's November 25th. And actually, quite frankly, all day long, I've been telling people it's December. But I can't believe that we're already at Thanksgiving. This year has really flown by. And I know that we are all in, unprecedented times, and we are preparing and planning to make new memories, preferably in a time of unprecedented change. That's what this season is all about. It's been about shaking the limbs and creating change and actually creating room for new growth. The theme for the month of November has been building equity and increasing your chances of making meaningful investments that strengthen your legacy. Last week, I spoke with Lisa Nichols, who is the president of the Greater Washington chapter of the National Association of Women Business Owners, or also known as NABO. And we talked about ways to leverage an affiliation with specialized organizations. And I think that's extremely important for small businesses as they are growing and scaling, to not only affiliate with chambers of commerce and organizations where there is networking opportunities in general, but to also engage with those who are specialized in certain areas because they know your pain points. They know how to connect you with the right people. And quite frankly, their memberships are filled with people who are similar to you or have the profile of the client that you are pursuing. So that was an extremely good conversation. And if you missed it, please check out the replay. You can still check it out on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and you can also find us on Facebook as well. So today, as I wrap up this month's programming and prepare for the Thanksgiving holiday, I am having a special small business roundtable discussion with 3 different small business owners who are from 3 different industries, who have all had some impact as it relates to COVID and the changes of the times, but also managed to thrive in this time. And they're going to also talk about or share the things that they're thankful for in this season of their business. So now let's get started and prepare to welcome our guests. We have Angela Frey with Dat Jerk Chicken is going to be joining us, Lisa Nelson with C and Colors, and Paula Robinson with JPR and Associates, who are coming on the show. So let's get them on the call. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hey.
Good to see you all. So excited to have you here. And thank you for joining me on this day at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right before everybody's taking off for Thanksgiving. So are you guys off? Are you off like right now? are you?
I'm always off.
You're always off.
Depends on when I want to work. That's when I work.
Right. Girl, come on now, share that secret with us.
I love that.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute, I got another one, and I don't cook.
Oh, what? Wait a minute. Wait, hold time out.
So the pressure is off.
So let me just say, we're gonna start introductions that way. Okay, we're gonna start with you, Angela. Tell us who you are, and also tell us a little bit about your business and your industry, and how that correlates to that comment you just made about you don't cook.
Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. Lisa, thank you so much for inviting us to come on and talk about this. I'm actually excited to listen to what Paula and Lisa also have to say about their businesses and how they were able to pivot through this. I am Angela Melton Frey. I am co-owner of Dat Jerk Caribbean Char Grill. We have 2 locations. One is in the Waldorf area in Charles County, and the other one is in Whitmore Town Center in Prince George's County. The Waldorf location is about to celebrate its 6th year coming up in March, and the Prince George's is about to celebrate its 4th year. And the reason why I don't cook is because we are building ourselves up to be a franchise. And so therefore, you have to be able to follow some recipes. So that I can do. I can read measurements. And if you give me that information, I can roll with that. But other than that, no, that I leave that up to my husband.
All right. Hey, that's operating your zone of genius.
That's right.
I know it. I know my limitations.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Paula, share with us a little bit about you and JPR and Associates.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paula Robinson. I am the CEO and founder of JPR and Associates. We are a human resource training and consultation firm. So we help organizations gain the culture that they want, but we also help employees maximize their fullest potential. We are located in the Atlanta area, but we are an international company. And in addition to that, we are soon to celebrate our 17th year in business. So really making the adjustment through all of the changes. Thank you. That have happened this year. I have a lot of information to share. So I am just interested in hearing what everybody else has to say and thankful for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome.
Sure.
And Lisa, last but not least.
Yes, another Lisa's in the house.
That's right.
My name is Lisa Nelson, and I am the founder and visual strategist at Seeing Colors. Seeing Colors is a visual communications company, and we use the power of pictures to help leaders move forward and take action. I started the company January will be 9 years ago. And 4 years ago, I left my corporate career and focused on growing and scaling the business. And I have never turned back.
Awesome. I
Very
love
good.
that. So as you can see, we're all in different industries. We have professional services. We have the restaurant industry. And Lisa's in consulting, but I also like to say events. Yes. Because a lot of what you do is centered around supporting events and facilitation. So what I like to do is kind of start a little bit with, the 2020 vision, right? And how it has been somewhat different than what we anticipated or what we expected. COVID has, for many of us, it kind of ripped the carpet out from beneath us, and we had to make some changes and some shifts. So before we talk about the impacts of COVID, can you share a little bit about some of the things that you anticipated, that you planned, the greatness for this year? And you probably have experienced that already, but what was the greatness? What was the thing that you were looking to grow as a result of, stepping into your plans, your strategic plans for this year? And we're just going the same order. Angela, I'll take you first.
Okay, awesome. So our game plan actually was to increase the brand and the number of locations that we have. So we were going to open up the 3rd location, which I know I'm jumping ahead, but we are actually moving into that direction. And we did find a location. So now we are in the process of putting in an LOI. And if the landlord wants to cooperate and be nice, then we will have that location. If not, we'll move on to the next spot. And then another situation for us was going into franchising. And that's something that has always been my game plan and since we started the restaurant, like I said, we built the restaurant to be a franchise. And if I had $1 for everybody that actually said, "Oh, is this a franchise? Is this a franchise?" I probably wouldn't need the franchise right now. But since I didn't charge, we are actually in the mode for franchising as well. And we will be ready to franchise in Maryland and about 5 other states in 4 to 5 months.
Good.
What?
Oh, yes. I told you, Lisa, I'm tired.
All right.
Yes. So those were our goals. They did, we did have a little monkey wrench in there when COVID hit in March. But, since then we were able to regroup and, we pivot just like everybody else. And so we're back on track. We're actually back on track better now than we were pre-COVID, which is
excellent.
a blessing.
So we're going to come back and talk about those key points in just a second, but I do want to dive in a little bit more about that. And I'm excited to hear about the franchising in 4 to 5 months. Yes, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So Paula, how about you? Your 2020 vision? What was the thing that, was going to take you to the next level this year?
So one of the things that happened last year is that I spent a lot of time traveling to the Carolinas to open up 3 different offices there in the Carolinas. And so I have offices located in other places, but because the Carolinas are so close to the Atlanta area, it made sense because there was a demand to open up offices there as well. And so I was able to do that at the end of last year and looking to push it even further in 2020. So what we had to do, obviously, is stop for a little bit. The offices were there, but in terms of how we were going to service people, that changed a little bit. So because we are a human resource training and consulting firm that also helps people with their culture and those kinds of things, how we train looked a little bit different in 2020.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very good. Lisa.
Yeah. So for us, and it's funny because every year I pick a word for my theme for the year and I store it on my phone so I can see it constantly. So my 2020 theme or word is action. And I even had a little subtitle, 2020 Year of Plenty. That was the goal. And in order to capitalize on that, my focus for 2020 was to continue to grow our core service, which is graphic recording and creating visual notes at meetings. But in addition, I was expanding my animation video services. Animation video is very effective in learning and also marketing and promotions. So I had a marketing plan all around that new service to expand our business. So that was my 2020 action plan.
Awesome. So listen, it's funny that you say you have the word of the year because I did too.
Me too.
I really don't even know what my word was now.
Look,
I can't remember. And
as girls were talking, I was like, what was my word? What was my word?
I don't know what my word was. And I always start the year with doing a vision board. And I kind of did it, but I had the flu. I started the year, the first week of January with the flu.
Oh, wow.
How ironic is that? And I ended up not putting securing the components of my vision board. So over the months, it was scattered literally all over the place. So I picked up all the components and I trashed it.
Oh, wow.
So that was that was 2020. How my plans were completely different. Not shattered, but very different. Very different. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about specifically, March happened and how COVID and the impacts of, the pandemic, how that impacted your business and your industry. And I'm gonna go in reverse order this time.
Okay.
So Lisa, I'll start with you. If you can share a little bit about,
Sure.
the impact.
So primarily, we serve the meeting industry, as Lisa was sharing. And I'm just going to put up a little visual here of meetings. So as you can imagine, we had events on the books, for example, with South by Southwest, huge audience that was going to be in Texas, and some other events. And as the pandemic started becoming a reality, those events were canceled, rightly so, because the states were shutting down. And event planners and our organizers, they just weren't sure, if they could proceed, if they could scale it to a smaller audience or what. So several events were canceled, several were postponed. And for a couple of months, it was a feeling of just in flux for our clients, for everyone. A very topsy-turvy feeling. I like to think about this, it's like, which way do we go? Which way do we go?
That's so cool.
And that's how the pandemic shifted in our industry. There are still associations and organizations that are waiting for in-person events to return. So there are some people who just pause and say, "Oh no, we'll be fine. This will be okay," and we'll just wait. And then there are other clients who already had plans in motion and really were thinking about the big picture, and were ready for us to step in as a thought partner for them to see how they can leverage the power of visuals, but do it virtually. And so that's allowed us to expand our services and really give me a clear focus on the meetings industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Paula, how about you?
So instead of doing in-person events, much like Lisa, we took a lot of things online. We were already doing some of that, but everything went online. So when we started working with our corporate clients, all of that activity definitely went online. When we were working with our career coaching clients, that was something that we began doing online. When I started, we have a business owner services where I help people start their own businesses. That was transitioned online. So we had already had some exposure to that anyway. But the great part about it is that it gave us an opportunity to listen more closely. And I talk about listening graciously to our clients and our potential clients to make sure that we heard what their needs were. We offer customized services. So we customize everything to what they absolutely needed. And we also heard some of the, for lack of a better word, some of the panic that existed. Now, there are some people who wanted to do things in person. And so we're still waiting. We did have some contracts signed, but people had to pull back, and we understood that. And so we thought the right pivot, if you will, was to just make, not necessarily hold people responsible to something that they couldn't necessarily control. If they want to come back and we can do business in the future, that's great. But at the end of the day, we want it to be a big support system for all of our clients and our potential clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's excellent. And Angela.
Wow. And the restaurant industry, Lisa, can you draw me a little thing that starts going like this, and then it kind of goes down like this, and then it kind of goes like this, and then it goes down like that again? Every single time there was a mandate, it was sales just dropped and dropped. And luckily for Richard and myself, which is my husband and my partner in crime, we network with a lot of other restaurateurs. So whether they're have individual solo, restaurants, or if it's a franchise like Chick-fil-A, and we really created this resource around ourselves because there was so much uncertainty. We didn't know. It's like nobody starts a business to think you're ever going to have to close a business because of something you have absolutely nothing in control over. Right. So it was challenging because we didn't really have any guidance. Luckily for us, Richard knew something was going on because he's Mr. News Guru. He talks to us about stuff when we don't even want to hear what he has to stay and talk about, right? But it's a good thing he actually knew about this when it was going on, because in February, he started stocking up on gloves and sanitizer and masks. And while that was great, it lasted probably for about, when we reopened, I want to say maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So in March the 1st, the second week in March, we just started seeing our sales go down. We lost between 25 and 30% of our sales. We did stop dine-in before the mandates. And then after that, we just said, we got to close, because, you know, we were checking around. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Are you staying open? And they didn't know what they were going to do, because it's people's livelihoods. You know, it's not like it's corporate America where you have folks that are on salary and you have to pay them whether or not. They don't come to work. They don't get paid. They can't, you know, feed their families. It's a horrible situation. So we closed. We took care of our full-time employees while we could. And during that 3 week, we had to figure out, what are we going to do? People don't want to come out. So how do we get people to still get our food? Because, you know, they obviously like it because we've been around for 5+ years. And how do we make them feel comfortable that we're the brand that's going to make sure that when they get our food, that we took as much love and pride and safety in preparing that food and delivering that food to them? So we came up with this crazy idea called neighborhood delivery. And it was all about, you know, we're going to take it out to them. If we can, you know, get one person to be the ambassador, and then we can get them to get 10 of their neighbors, we'll come and deliver the food to you. Well, we did that once, and it was very successful. It was in Wicomico Shores, and it was great. It was so funny. The guy sends, you know, online ordering, and he's like, yes, I'll be on my boat. And if you could deliver the food on the boat, and, you know, I sent him back a note and said, you can come to the pier just like everybody else, which is great. But it was extremely successful. But when we reopened, we closed for 3 weeks. And during that time period, Richard went in with my son, and we just COVID-proofed both of the restaurants. So we put up plexiglass, which then turned out to be a problem after we opened up because we couldn't hear the customers. So then we had to put speaker systems in, which solved that problem. So then we had to make sure that everybody had their mask, and we had to go through and make sure that all the staff knew about cleaning their hands constantly and just basically keeping it safe. The good thing for us is we've always been a clean restaurant. So it wasn't like our staff was like, oh my God, they want us to wash our hands so often now. They were used to it. So when we closed for 3 weeks to regroup, we also took the opportunity to train our managers. So during 2 weeks of that 3 week time period, we all got introduced to teams, and we all had to get up at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, actually, some days were 8 o'clock in the morning because we had a lot to go through, and we went through our managers training manual from beginning to end. And all the managers and the owners and the executive team were there. And we said, when you get back into the stores, we need you to follow this to a T. There are no options. We need to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. And I think that was really successful for us because we had the background and the core people that could go out and deliver that. But again, like I said, it did actually have its challenges. And after we opened, it was crazy. And I got to tell you, and I don't want to take up too much more time, but it was crazy because we didn't know what to expect. We're thinking they're not going to come out and everything else, and we're going to have to do this. Fortunately for us, like Paula, we started online ordering prior to COVID. So we started promoting that and letting people know that you could place your order online and you can come pick it up. That was a huge, that was one of the best ideas. I mean, folks were calling me and saying, oh my God, what did you guys do? I was like, I don't know. We just figured, let's get with the 21st century and say, let's do online ordering. It was so successful that there were so many people that were placing orders online. There were still people as the weeks went by who started to come in. And we were just standing back going, what, neighborhood who? We don't have time for neighborhood delivery because we're trying to maintain the people and the customers that are coming through the door to make sure that they're well taken care of. Yeah. So since then, we actually have come up with another plan because, we did do DoorDash and we still do. And we also do third-party delivery with Postmates. but they charge so much. So another thing that was part of our game plan was to do our own in-house delivery. And with that in-house delivery, allowed us to make sure that we were actually able to hire more people to be drivers. We were able to have better control over the security and the delivery of our products, and including the safety. We've had trouble in the past sometimes with some of the drivers who decided that they wanted to take the customer's French fries or they wanted to eat some of their brown stew chicken. Don't ask me. The fork was still intact, but the food was not there. So with that being said, we knew we had to do something different, and we had to make sure that the food was getting to them safely. And it just so happened there was a company that was out of California that we do our scheduling system with, and they were starting in-house delivery. And they called us and said, would you guys mind beta testing this for us on the East Coast? And we've got a pizza guy on the West Coast. And, you know, we're like, hey, we're game. Let's just get it done. When are you guys going to be ready? Oh, we'll be ready in 3 weeks. Sure. By golly gee, they were ready in 3 weeks. So you should have saw us trying to hire drivers. We were enlisting all the employees. You got a car? You got insurance? Y'all ready to go out? You want to make some tips? So everybody was on point with it. And that in-house delivery, we've been doing it for about 2 months now and has been extremely successful. We actually just launched our billboard campaign as well. We went down for last month. During COVID, we kept advertising though. And I tried to tell everybody that's so important. You don't stop because this is going on. You need to let people know, hey, we are still here. We are still a business and we are still able to provide the same, if not better services to you. Right. So we kept advertising, which I know was a big contributing factor to us getting the continued traffic because they knew that we were there. But with the in-house delivery, now we're just starting to promote that even more. So we just got a billboard that launched in Glen Arden side of town and in Waldorf side of town that says jerk goodness delivered.
All right. So I'm gonna let you know that my daughters said they know that jerk is thriving because they are there. We are there once a week, literally. And I'm sure that they're listening right now. And when they hear that you do in-house delivery, just wait. Bowie is on the list.
Yes, thank you. It's funny you mentioned Bowie. Bowie is definitely on the list.
Yes. So I heard a lot of different things from each of you as you were going through the process of talking about how COVID has impacted and your industry and the business, and then the shifts that you made. I heard anticipation. I heard technology. Angela, you said, getting on board with the 21st century. I heard visibility. In one word, can you share one other word that's applicable to each of you that relates to the lesson that you learned about this year, or as a result of this year, I should say?
Can I say 2 words?
Okay.
Okay. Being proactive.
Yes.
Have to be.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I can share a word. And it's funny because my word ties very closely to the work that we do. And it's really all about listening. Paula shared that earlier. And when you listen, then you realize, give the people what they want.
That's it.
They'll tell you. They'll tell you what they want.
They will tell you, but you got to listen.
Yeah. Especially now, it's like the cries. It's cries.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. You have to listen to them. Absolutely. Yeah. Paula.
And so, in addition to listening graciously, like I talked about before, the one word that I think probably resonates with most people through this time, but it was the word that I picked at the beginning of the year. And it's the word that I continue to ride with. And now I understand, why that word was standing up so strong. And that word was resilient. Yeah. And so it was important for us to be resilient because our resilience made it possible for other companies to be resilient. It made it possible for people to be resilient in their careers. It made it possible for innovative entrepreneurs to start their own resilient companies. And so being there, standing up and showing up and saying, here are all of the ways that we can still help you. For the individuals, when we're talking with our corporate partners and the people that we support, we're looking at essential workers, and now they're calling and talking about what can we do with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how can we, show up, and how can we prove that this is valuable. Maybe we've made some mistakes in the past. So guess what kicks in? Resilience. And so we kick that word in every time we're having a meeting to kind of show them that this may seem hard in the beginning, but I'm listening to you and I'm going to help you be resilient through this entire process. Oh my goodness, I lost my job and now I need to find another one. And what do we need to do? First of all, let's be resilient. This may seem like the end for many things, but through resilience, it's an opportunity to start over. Every single crisis will bring you innovation. It'll bring you creativity. Even when the crisis is as horrible as this one has been, it's an opportunity to remain resilient so your ideals will keep coming and you're able to help other people.
Absolutely. So you mentioned, Paula, that you've been in business for 17 years and, with longevity comes experience, right? And, I like to tell the story that I've been in business for 23 years. And through that process, I've experienced multiple economic uncertainty or challenges in the marketplace. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you experience now that you had this year, where you were able to rely on some of the things that you had experienced previously that helped carry you through.
Well, this was not my first economic downturn, if you will, right? So we've lived through, some of those downturns in the past. And so we've learned from those lessons in terms of making sure for us, and really for me as the founder, I had to always go back to the reason why I started JPR and Associates and what it means. And we add to the business as time goes on based on what those needs are. But the reason why I started the business never changed. And it can't change because there's an economic downturn. It can't change because there's a pandemic. Either we're going to do this or we're not. And so I just decided that we're just going to keep doing it. Now, how we do it may change, but the fact that we do it, that's not something that I'm prepared to change. I believe that we are here to help employers and to help employees thrive. One cannot coexist without the other. And that's why both are important to me. And whatever value that I can bring to the table to help them rise up, that's what we're going to do. And so it forces me, as well as other people, to take a look at what are some of the options that we have not considered. And fortunately, in the world of technology being what it is, it allowed us the opportunity to expand and to show up in a way that we had never shown up before on a regular basis, in terms of training, in terms of coaching, in terms of evaluating, in terms of meeting with large number of employees that we may not have ever even had an opportunity to see or touch in the way that we can do it now. And so going back to the reason why we started the company and deciding that in this day and time, how can we be creative? How can we be innovative? And then sharing that information with the people we serve. We work with large organizations, small organizations, and people in between, and individual contributors. And that gives us the experience and the know-how to make sure that they also are successful in the ways that they want to be successful. People are our greatest assets, and that's where we show up.
Yeah, it's power in numbers, right? It's power in numbers. Absolutely. So I'm gonna ask this question, and I didn't prime you guys for this, but I think it's an important question in this season. If you were to think about everything this year, and the relief that was available to small businesses and some of the programs that organizations were able to tap into, which I think were fantastic. We can complain about it all day long, but I will have to say the government came to the rescue as much as they possibly could. And still now that we're facing certain situations, they're still trying to put programs out there to come to the rescue. But if you could think about something that you wish was really available to you in the moment, in the depths of what was happening during the pandemic, what would you say that was?
I would say for us, Lisa, additional resources. I think because we had to find out what to do on our own. We didn't have any guidance. All we had were mandates of what you couldn't do, but nobody could really guide us and tell us what we should be doing. So I think resources for us would have been extremely helpful.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one, Angela. And I would go further, at least from my perspective, clarity. There was so much misinformation. Back to the image I showed with the arrows pointing everywhere. The PPP program was changing every couple of days.
Still changing. Not done yet.
Yeah, still, right? And other programs, it was just such a state of flux. And fortunately, I have to thank Lisa Anderson for being stepping up and leading small businesses and bringing in experts to help us understand and navigate those waters. Because it was just like we were trying to climb a mountain, and then it got dark. So not only you see this big mountain, you're trying to figure it out. Now it's dark, and you can't see anything in front of you. Yeah. So unless you have a guide who has gone through economic, ups and downs and is tapped into resources, you are out here solo. And there are businesses that have shut down because they couldn't navigate this mountain. Either they stayed where they were, or it said, and still waiting, or they said, no, let's just try to go back down because we don't know what's going on, and we're going to just shut it down. So I'm really thankful that, I'm a part of a supportive community to help me navigate, what we just went through and the things to come.
Yeah.
I agree with additional resources. I mean, of course, we've never dealt with this before, so there is no handbook. I think we are certainly a lot better prepared the next time things, the next time there's a disbursement or whatever it is, whatever else is coming. But also, I agree in terms of what the Small Business Administration had to offer. I will tell you that I've had really good experiences, very knowledgeable people who are willing to give information and other options that could be available instead of the PPP. I think that forgetting about solopreneurs and people who drive Uber and all of that, forgetting about those people the first time around was a bit tragic for me, because I think that we are so fixed on what we believe business looks like and what we believe business should look like that we forgot about those critical roles. And, all of those individuals were waiting to be, if you will, rescued in some way that made sense. And eventually something came, but it was not without the fear of, oh my goodness, I'm forgotten about. So what do I do? And I think having additional guidance on that and additional support is going to be critical to the success, particularly of those individuals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, when you look at the companies, the businesses in the United States, a greater portion of them are single employees. They're sole proprietors. They're solopreneurs. And so that has to be addressed. What I'm happy to see is that it was addressed.
Yeah.
Because when we look at the market shift and the economic downturn in 2008, 2009, they were completely forgotten. Completely. They got nothing.
Yep.
And so I was happy to see, while late, I was happy to see that it did actually occur. So
And I think more probably should come, because I think people didn't really think about the fact that this is a huge, huge population.
Yep.
It's part of what makes the rest of us go around. And I think that people are seeing that now. And hopefully there'll be much more. And then the guidelines in terms of who gets an opportunity to put their hand in that pot.
Yeah, we could talk about that all day.
Yeah, I'll just stop there.
Yes.
It's so kind of quickly, Paula. I felt the exclamation mark kind of going there, right?
Oh, goodness. The comments from my guests are not necessarily, what's the disclosure they say? So let me ask you all, because I'm not going to hold you. It's Thanksgiving, and I know you all want to get ready to create those special memories with your family and create a new normal, right? I'm going to ask two more questions. The first question is, what's next for you? What's on the horizon? I know you talked about some of it. You kind of sprinkled it in, but I like to hear the next thing. So I'll start with you, Paula.
You know what, Lisa, we're going to continue to grow. I mean, I'm not confessing anything but that. I know that we have a service that changes people, that changes work life, that changes workplace cultures, that helps people build businesses. So we're just going to continue to grow. I'm committed to that. And in doing so, we're going to help other people grow. We're going to help other people advance. If you need, assistance with diversity, equity, and inclusion, if you need coaching, all of the services that we have to offer, it is all dedicated to the growth and improvement of other people. And that's what's critical to us. That's why I started the business. And so it is not my intention to pull back. It is my intention to level up. We talk about elevating people in workspaces. We talk about elevating people in their careers, elevating people in business. That's what we're here for. And so those people that need us and the people that are a part of that want to be a part of what we're doing, that's where we are. And that's not going to change. 17 years later, by the grace of God, we are still here and we are going forward, and that is going to continue. So that's what we expect.
I love it. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Lisa.
Yeah. For us, as I mentioned, the key thing about listening has really allowed us to expand our services. So focusing on meetings, but visuals being the common thread through everything. One of the areas that we have expanded to is in meeting facilitation. So we have facilitators on our team who will help you design your agenda, help you be clear on your outcomes that you want for this meeting, help you do stakeholder management, so you have the right people at your meeting. And on the other hand, we also are now doing meeting support. So that consists of tech hosting. Moving to virtual is not a 1, 2, 3 here, click the Zoom button, It doesn't work that way. And it may be in March and April and May, people were, Zoom, even your family members were doing Zoom, in the evenings, right? At least my families were, because everybody was just fascinated and Zoom was free for everybody. But now people have Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
So we're helping our clients and adding value in that way by bringing those meeting facilitation skills, and also using technology and the features of the technology, whether it's Zoom or Teams, to really leverage it and have an engaging experience. So, for example, the holidays are here. So on Monday, we're going to be launching our virtual holiday services. If you're having your holiday party, you're going to be doing it virtually across the country, I'm sure, because no one's going to be able to come together. So we will be able to support you in that area, queuing up the music, making sure that, your lighting and sound is good. Maybe you want some breakout rooms so that people can network with each other who never met each other before. Just creative things like that to continue to add value.
I love it.
I love it.
So great. So great.
Awesome. 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 I love it. Angela, what about you?
Well, I mentioned I mentioned third store, but our plans is very similar to what Paula was saying too, is we're growing, and we pause for quite some time to figure out what direction were we going to go into, because we don't know. But what we do know is not growing is not an option. And we do know that things are going to change. We do know that there are a couple of pharmaceuticals that have a vaccine that's going to be coming into play. We do know that this is not going to be the norm for ever. So, and then people are going to get back to some type of living, the normal life. So multi-unit owned and operated locations are in store for us in 2021. Franchising is also in store for 2021. And developing our in-house delivery so that we don't just deliver for that jerk, but we also are educating and helping other smaller businesses to start their own in-house delivery. It's a daunting task, and it's not something that you want to have to go alone, because there are so many moving parts that you have to figure out. And Richard and I just said, you know what, hey, this is what we can do, and this is how we can kind of give back. So we have drivers. I'm sure more drivers are going to come, and we're talking to some other Caribbean restaurants as well, who's reached out to us asking how are we able to pivot, what were we able to do, and we're going to keep doing that, because there's enough out there for everybody. I don't care who you are. If you're considered somebody's competition, share the wealth, and guess what? You will get that back twofold.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, I have enjoyed this conversation. This has been amazing. And I'm excited about the pivots, the thrive, the growth, all of those things. And it's always great to see you all. Yes. So as we wrap up, we'll go round robin. If you don't mind sharing with everybody that's listening, that's tuning in, how they can learn a little bit more about you. So I'll go with clockwise my way. So Angela.
Okay. You could stop in at one of the two locations with your mask on, or you can go to or do they say that anymore? It's datjerk, datjerk.com, and it'll tell you everything about us.
Y'all need to check it out for sure.
Thank you.
Paula, how about you?
You can reach me at jpr-associates.com or paularobinsoninternational.com.
Awesome. And Lisa?
Yep. As for us, our website is the best way to connect with us. That way you can connect on our social media or just send an email. And the website is seeincolors.com. And look forward to connecting with you.
I had to learn how to do that, Lisa.
I know, right?
Draw it out, put it on. Love it.
I was thinking if I drew anything, it would look not like that. So
you can do it.
People, that's all I know how to do. And even
they look beautiful.
I'm gonna stay in my lane. I'll stay in my lane.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you all. I appreciate you for joining me, and happy Thanksgiving to every one of you. And I wish you much, much, much more growth and prosperity and legacy. Absolutely. Achieving your legacy goal. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And so thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great conversation that was. And I have absolutely enjoyed every bit of it. These ladies shared a lot of good advice and good nuggets related to continuing to be resilient in this time, in this moment. And I wrote down 5 words that I kind of heard as they talked about what's coming up next. One is level up. Level up. This is good advice for small business owners. You got to level up. You can't retreat. It's never a time to retreat. You got to level up. You got to listen. You got to listen to what the market is screaming and yelling that they need from you. You got to be ready to launch, whatever that new idea is, whatever that thing is, get it out there. You got to be prepared to live. Angela said that living is critical. And then lastly, you have to be ready to leverage opportunities, leverage relationships, just leverage the community, so that together there is power in numbers, and so that we can all grow. So this concludes our programming for the month of November. I will be back next week with a whole new theme and a whole new set of guests and experts that will be joining me. So before I wrap up, I would like to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. And I hope that you will join us here again next Wednesday at 4:30 p.m., LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And until we see you again next time, I am Lisa Anderson, your strategic business advisor and virtual CFO with the Novel Transformation Solutions, your $1 million mentor. And once again, happy Thanksgiving.